We are here in Asod Hotel in Hargeisa. Beside me is Greg Mills from Benthrust Foundation, South Africa. And welcome to the SLN TV, Mr. Greg Mills.
Thank you very much for having me.
What did you believe before you came to Somaliland?
Well, this is about the 10th time I have been in Somaliland. I first came here in 2003. And what I've seen is a country that has steadily developed. When I first came here, there was hardly a road to Berbera. There was certainly a very bad road to Sheikh in Barao. Today, you have much better infrastructure. Your economy is more dynamic. You've opened up to the world in spite of not being recognized internationally. The election, this is the second election the Benthrust Foundation has observed, was an improvement on the 2021 election. You were better organized. You had a biometric iris system in many of your polling stations. Your staff were better trained. There was certainly more efficiency in the counting process. We observed one or two minor incidences, security incidences. There's some concern about registration processes, about the support for local observation, but they are relatively minor in the greater scheme of Somaliland's election. And for that reason, we have seen this election from our point of view. We observed nearly 1/4 of the 2,600 polling stations, so a considerable number across quite a big geography of Somaliland. We see the process as free, fair, and credible.
Thank you. How would you describe the elections in Somaliland as an international observer, comparing to other countries you have witnessed their elections?
Well, I think Somaliland is right up there with the best elections in Africa. In spite of the fact that you are relatively poor, your per capita income is less than half of the sub-Saharan African average, for example. In spite of the fact that your economy is quite small, you have dedicated huge resources comparatively to running your elections. Your electronic biometric system, your organization around the elections, the number of polling stations, the drive for registration, these are issues that many African countries have not got right, and certainly not nearly as good as in the case in Somaliland. You know, there's a saying in sport, practice makes perfect. Somaliland's, this is its 9th election or poll, and it shows. You've improved, at least from our perspective, your systems, and that shows in terms of the election process. Every election can be improved. Of course, that goes without saying. There's always room for improvement. And hopefully the next election process will be better than this one in 2024, which we would assess to have been better than the one in 2021 in terms of the system. So democracy is expensive. You have to invest a lot of your money in the training, in the systems, in the technology. But I do think it's a very big strength of Somaliland, particularly when you compare it to the rest of your region.
Good. Now you are going back to your country or your organizations. What would you tell to the people of your country and your organization and as well to the world?
Well, I'll say what I've always said about Somaliland. It fulfills the basic requirements of statehood. It has control over its territory. It can represent itself diplomatically. It has defined borders. There is the rule of law. The real reason why Somaliland is not recognized is because of Mogadishu. So Somaliland needs to develop a relationship with Mogadishu in order to become recognized. The route, I would argue, to recognition actually runs through Mogadishu. But how you work that out is a matter for Somalilanders. It's the one thing that every Somalilander agrees on. You want to be an independent, internationally recognized country. It's what I will say when I get back home. It's what I continually have said since 2003, is that Somaliland deserves to be recognized. And that is a question of self-determination. It is what the Somalilanders themselves the vast majority want. They want to run their own affairs, and they know the history of the cost of having somebody else rule you. So the Siad Barre period, the civil war of the 1980s, is a brutal reminder of the costs of putting your faith in somebody else. So this history has been a long time in the making, and I will tell people personally that this election is a strength for Somaliland, is a strength for Africa, and it's a standout example in a region which has many difficulties, developmental difficulties, democratic difficulties, and for that reason, Somaliland deserves to be supported.
Thanks.